Hello and welcome to Angry Cow Poetry, the beautiful Rialto Theater here. I am so glad you came out tonight. All of you are glad you're here. I'm excited for the open mic. We'll get to that in a little bit. I'm also really excited to introduce our feature. The first time I met Q was performing in a Temple of Passion Slam. Never met you before, but you were on stage. Came out first round, did great. Came out second round. I don't know the title of the poem, the House Home poem, and finished that, and the audience was completely into it. And there were motions and there were sounds, and Q finished that poem, and I'm like, Q just won the day, which somehow didn't end up turning out like that. Still in my mind, you did though. I mean, that was the piece, and it was just holy shit. So it was a great introduction. I've heard QintheStu many times. It's always been a pleasure hanging out. Always been a pleasure hearing perform. Q is also part of the Sparrow's Fortune, which is this amazing collective of poets of I don't know how many, 7, 8 now, seven. That perform in Cleveland and Akron and Columbus. Hold writing workshops, all kinds of cool things. And the last big show they had with all 7 of them performing, the whole show was amazing. Q did this one piece though, and I'm just crying. The whole piece through was just beautiful and touching, and hit a lot of personal emotions as a father of someone who's gone through some struggles, and it was just incredible. It was one of the most times I've been most moved by poetry, and I'm really, really excited tonight to feature here tonight. Give it up, please, for QintheStu.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Right.
I want to start off just by really thanking Keith, because that was an awesome introduction, man. I really appreciate that. And Keith has been a really, really big supporter of mine since I started, or since we met at the Temple Passion Slam last year. So I've been writing for about 2 years. I've been performing for about 2 years. I've been writing for a lot longer. It's been interesting trying to navigate this whole world, because it's something brand new. And Keith, you've been you've been very, very supportive, and it's been very helpful in my personal journey as a poet here. If I can be honest with you guys, this is like my 3rd or 4th feature ever. And which is not a lot. That's not a lot of experience as a feature artist, but it does not get any less terrifying every time I get up here. I'm super, super anxious right now, but I'm really appreciative to be in this space. So thank you for sitting here and hearing what I'm about to say. And I look forward to hearing from you guys too. So this first poem I'm going to do, I wrote this last month. I'm sure you guys were all pretty excited for the eclipse. Yeah. That was cool. That's something that we never experienced, or we're only ever going to experience once. So I was kind of moved by the eclipse to write this. Totality is a bitch. A brutal reminder that a sunrise doesn't always lead to a brighter day. I've never seen a crowd this big. A whole parade for this eclipse, yes, it's beautiful. But haven't they ever seen a sunset over Lake Erie? Don't they know it's just as pretty, and that we don't have to wait a lifetime to see it again? I guess I get it. This is different. The air is a bit crisp, a bit chilly. I wonder if all these strangers will be enough to keep me warm. I know the light show is enough to keep their attention. I know the news mentioned not to look directly at it, but who else could they be but humans? If they didn't fall victim to curiosity and just look at it. Too many tourists taking no caution. It's a lot of luminosity to be taken in with no tints. Now tears stain their cheeks, ironically, while I speak down on those who can't resist temptation like a fool. I'm compelled to walk directly into it and soak up all that serenity, all that sweet sunshine, all that solar synchronicity, all the silver dust and those golden rays that line the world above ours. I can't help but step toward it. and feel a sense of forever in its existence. As I saunter forward, suddenly my legs surrender. They are rendered stiff. The crowd is singing now. The scene more somber than celebration. What happened to all the smiles? It's only April. All these flowers shouldn't be here till May. Why are they all at my feet? Why hasn't the moon moved past by now? Isn't the darkness only supposed to last but a few minutes? There are sirens blaring. An ambulance seems to scream the name of the one who's in it. To me, it almost seems familiar. A young man, cold and blue. The paramedics don't move. They sit as still as the body in front of them. His face, pale and puffy, as if he holds on to his last breath. And at that moment, the sun and moon disappeared together forever. Only an hour into my death. Damn. Totality is a bitch.
Wow.
All right.
So that was actually in response to another poet friend of mine. He gave me a prompt to write about an hour into my death. So I just figured that was a fun way to play with that, because it's a weird, that's a deep topic, right? It's kind of intense. That being said, it's about to get a lot more intense, so I hope that's okay. If you guys didn't know, May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's really cool to be here on May 1st and have the chance to kind of share my experience with mental health. So the next couple pieces they're going to be kind of heavy, but they really helped me get through a lot of stuff. So hopefully you guys can receive something from them as well. This first one is called King Kong. Who knew that 2 cups of juice would loosen enough screws to lose the trust of every man, woman, and child around me? I abused the goose and deuce. It's enough hooch in my cup to drown townies, and now the county know my name. The man at the state store asks what I'll have every day, like he doesn't know the drill. I'll take a bottle of Jack, a bottle of that. Matter of fact, throw 50 yak on the bill. I happen to spill the truth when I poured my heart out to the girl next door. And now we stay up late and debate what fate might have in store for me. She made me believe there's more to see, and I might get a chance if I act accordingly. More importantly, she taught me how to speak to God cordially, like, hey God, I'm thankful. Hey God, today was painful, but I'm just grateful I got the chance to wake up and get my life untangled. Sort through my words, pick out the perfect hello to hurl at whoever will have it. Wash my hands of sins to protect whoever might grab it. A handshake with me could be tragic. While I was drinking that potion, God was working his magic, and y'all might call that blasphemous, but I'm not having it, because while I was running red lights, he was controlling traffic, ensuring my path of destruction remained inactive, and moms and dads got home to hear kids laughing. He saw my hand reach for a bottle, and he grabbed it and smacked it and said, if you don't get this shit together, I'm going to let it happen. Next time you're on stage in front of your family, they won't be clapping, more like dabbing their eyes, drying their tears, wondering how you turned a future into wasted years. God, I face so many fears with cheers to not worrying about tomorrow. If I can wrap this shit up tonight, that's less time I gotta borrow. But I realize sorrow and pity don't look good on me. I'm too clean for that. I'm so real, boy. My happiness don't come with strings attached. Yeah, I knows better. I put love in my morning mantra because it flows better. I signed a deal with the devil in gold letters and ripped it in his face just to show him I won't let him. Big homie whispering, get him, I got him, and I ain't give a fuck. That same mentality had told me pick the pencil up. And now, I don't put it down till I feel big enough. I don't grip the pound, but my heartbeat sounds like hit him up. Who you kidding, bro? King Kong ain't got shit on me. I had this monkey on my back so long, that's just big homie. And he showed me there's not a soul below me. He knows me better than the little bro me. He won't hold me back when I'm ready to pop off. And like any other friend, he's got a couple of flaws. He might not answer your calls, and if the boys pull up, he's not going to take the fall, but we're working on it. And I promise, I'm certain we'll figure it out, because he owes me. Right? He owes me. Why does it feel like everybody fucking owes me? Why does everyone want the old me? Why don't I want the old me? Why do I like the way the bottle holds me? Why is life so short, but every second ticks so slowly? I'm talking to the holy Brody. And since we're so cool now, Riddle me this. Why'd you write the script like this? I'm not mad, I'll take what you give. It's just, this is starting to feel like my ex's Christmas list. Like I owe you something, and I know I'm coming in hot, but this shit's blowing me, and everyone knows not to fan the flame you mean to extinguish, which maybe that means I'm not so close to finished. Maybe you do want me here. Maybe they do want me here. Maybe I'm something here. Do you hear me? I'm dumping here. I'm done. It's clear that it never will be. I'll never have the answers for the next day, and the best way to win this war is to take each battle as they come. Each day, one by one, and soon enough, the future I want will be right, front, and center. I'll go 7 rounds with my demons, and my knees will hit the ground when I'm a winner, and I'll look up and thank God. Because while I never asked to be a saint, he'll have finally made a man out of a sinner.
All right.
Thank you very much. So Keith mentioned a poem as part of my introduction that I did at a show with the Sparrow's Fortune. And so that show was called Searching for Home, A Voyage Through Love. And me and 6 other incredibly talented poets explored what love looks like, not just romantically, but familial relationships, self-love, and we really wanted to explore it in a more creative way. And that's where this poem came from. It's a poem about learning to love myself. Again, this is very heavy, so please stay with me. But it's called Keeping On. They call me friend, they call me brother, they call me son. Each and every one of them love me from the bottom of their heart, and I hate them for that. It's honestly disgusting how safe I feel in their arms when they hug me, as if they never want to let me go. Please, I promised I would do it so quietly. I would leave all my things in a neat little pile. I would even leave Ohio just so you didn't have to hear about it on the news in the morning. I wouldn't leave a note. I would write a book instead about all our favorite memories. I would spend my last dollars to get it published and make sure you all got one for free so you could remember me for a few more revolutions. But me, I'm dizzy. I've been sick and tired for as long as I can remember. My feet are still tender from the full field suicides. You and I both know that I can't run forever. My legs aren't so strong anymore. My lungs don't have as much space as they used to. My heart wasn't built to beat for me. It was built to beat for others, and so it beats every day to the rhythm of my loved one's satisfaction. It just so happens that's my favorite song. But lately I've been grooving to a different tune. One that gets louder when the moon comes out. Right around the time that the truth comes out, that I don't want to hear any more music. I'd rather find asylum in the sanctity of silence that comes when we cease to exist. And I know off rip I may sound a little lost. I may almost sound crazy, and I've been meaning to get everything back together, but the more time I spend here, the more gear I gather, the more baggage I have to carry around, the harder it is for me to keep track when I hit the ground and have to recollect all of my belongings. I've been longing to reach the top every time I begin to ascend. I've been grasping for that checkpoint just so I don't have to do it again, yet each time I approach that threshold, a friend is there to remind me that it doesn't come so easy. That extra weight you carry doesn't fade away when you do. It only gets transferred to all of those who knew you. That energy can be harnessed, it can be nurtured, it can eventually be replicated, but it can never be created nor destroyed. Its displacement can take shape of voids in space, perhaps bedrooms or dinner tables or family photos or hand-me-down hoodies, but never in the hearts of those it was shared with. It will only exist as dark matter. And I'm not sure it's fair for anyone else to have to live with that. The force of something they aren't even sure is real. And I don't want to be that uncertainty. I don't want to be that dead space in your heart. I just want to be alone with the earth. And I wish those conditions could coexist. I wish this was more of a puzzle than a problem. I wish the solution was a little more straightforward so we can move toward infinity without the possibility of any negatives, but I'm positive that the love I have for myself can't be any love than the love you have for me. It has to be greater than, or at the very least equal to, all the compassion you share, all the patience you exude, all the exponential levels of gratitude expressed outside the parentheses. You see, I'm starting to understand that my personal commitment comes first in this order of operations. And without it, any transference of love is just a false equation. I wish you never made me out to be the studious type. I wish you never cheered me on. And I hate that you're always right. That I do have so much life to live. And so many people who love me. That so many tears would fall to the earth on the day that I left. The ground would get wet, and truth be told, I don't want to be that mud you track through your home. So, for the sake of keeping your carpet clean, I wake up every morning and dust myself off. I'll do so a little bit earlier than I'm used to tune my heartstrings and play the music you so love to move to. I'll spend each day making my heart and soul a little bit stronger. I'll train a little bit harder. I'll stay up all night if I have to. I'll study a little bit longer, all in the hopes of finding a reason to love myself so I can keep on keeping on. So I can keep on loving you. Thank you for hearing that. Man, this whole poetry thing is like a complete transfer of energy sometimes. Like, I don't mean to get all deep and metaphysical or anything, but like, whew, saying that poem is just like some weight off my shoulders. So thank you guys a lot for listening to that. It means a lot to be able to give that. This last one's a little bit more hopeful, I think. You know, it's still on the topic of mental health and you know, self-discovery in those ways, but it's a little bit of a brighter mood. I think it's funny how many of us are taught to apologize before we ever really learn what it means to forgive. As if I ever had the consciousness as a kid to hurt with purpose. As if I was really scheming. I think if I ever heard the words, "I'm sorry," before I had to say them for myself, then maybe I'd be able to say, "It's okay," and really mean it. Forgiveness is my biggest weakness. I say its name in vain. I use its likeness for the protection of my image, then allow its identity to be diminished as soon as the coast is clear. I can't forgive what I can't expel from the depths between my ears. In other words, it's no point in trying to apologize if you can't make me forget why you should in the first place. I'm not good at remembering names. Birthdays just don't stick. I'll probably ask you what you do for work each time we meet again, and yet I can't seem to forget the path to the place in my heart that holds resentment for those I simply didn't get along with. I don't know why I can't let go. I don't know why my blood boils and my heart bellows with rage at the sight of a long-lost acquaintance. They didn't even mean to step on my shoes. That stupid prick. Whole time, if we switched and they were in mine, I would probably expect nothing less than the proper respect to accept my apology and keep it pushing. But while I stand here in my size 8s, I can't help but keep looking, watching, hoping they trip over the pocket I told them they dropped. Gotcha, bitch. But if being honest is what keeps your attention, then I'd be remiss not to mention that I'm not really that proud to be this spiteful. I've run myself into the ground if it made my presence more delightful, but the fact of the matter is I've dug this hole. I can no longer see the imaginary foes I am constantly at war with. It's just me. And all this fucking dirt. I've done all this fucking work and still can't stand to be the man that swung that shovel. I can't stand to be the man whose vices run victory laps in the same vicinity as his aspirations. I had to watch my goals roll over and go back to bed because I had them waiting. I was taken back when my dreams went to sleep on me. I haven't been gassed up in a while, so I've just been creeping on E, hoping that God would put his hands on me and lift each and every one of my burdens birthed by bad habits, but I realized that's not how blessings work. God has already done his. I've already been forgiven, but it's me who chooses to continue living in between my bads and I'm sorry's. I've hardly given myself the chance to make amends with the man in the mirror. I know he's had a bad day. I won't lie and say that what he's done is okay, but it will be all right. There's no need in spending all night passing judgment over each and every misstep, each and every tiny blunder, each and every time you skip the family function, each and every time you wonder a little too hard about someone else's business. There's no need to ask for forgiveness from those who just don't understand what you're doing, especially if you yourself occasionally forget what it means to be human, even if you ruin a single person's day. Simply by trying your best not to make a mess out of your own, all will not be lost, but what will be gained is another opportunity for new hope. You see, each hole we dig is another chance for new growth. I tell you, I've done this dance with a few folks who have left me with broken black and blue toes, and still I blame myself for two-stepping with those who know nothing about the rhythm of love, as if it's my fault they can't keep up, as if it's their right to say that it was, as if any of that shit really mattered, as if I can stand here today with a straight face and tell you that it still does. It's over. It no longer is what it was. It is what it can be. It is potential. It is a blank canvas. It is second chances. It is the world's to witness. And it's finally my turn to stop feeling sorry for myself. All this shit right here, this is forgiveness. Pump.
Good. What do you want?
I think that's all I got for right now. I think that's a lot. All right. Is that okay?
We're here? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be my first set of the night. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. I don't have anything else to say. Keith, you're up.
Please give it up one more time for QintheStu. You can find Q on Instagram at QintheStu.2. You can find Sparrow's Fortune also on Instagram. I encourage you to check both of those out. We're going to take a break here in a minute, a couple quick things, and then we'll do the open mic. If you're not yet on the open mic and you'd like to be, sheets over there. I'd love to have you come up and read on the mic if you're not yet. We have a huge celebration. Next year is 2 years of doing this event here at the Rialto. We got 13 different features, including Theresa Brightman over here for that. A lot of amazing poets. You can check them all out on the poster. If you have a place to put it up or somebody to hand it to, I got plenty of these. Feel free to take one with you. It is $10 pre-sale. It's $15 at the door for this event. There'll be an open mic still here at the beginning of the night, but then we'll move to the back room, so it is going to be ticketed unlike normal. If you buy your ticket tonight, you can skip not only that $5, you can skip the $2, so $2.50 or whatever that they're going to charge you for the service fee. So if you give me $10 tonight, I'll put you on a list. We'll get you in and just be done at 10. This book, one of my books, and I know some of you have not heard me read yet. This book is missing a page and it drives me nuts. It's one of the blurbs, sadly by Native Child Brown, who we lost. And so it's this blank page and it's wrong. If anybody just wants this, so I have to stop carrying that around with a Post-it note. That is yours for free at any point in time. And then last thing I'll say before we break is we just put out an album of music covering of Zach's songs, a local legend in these parts here. And we brought in, as a surprise, we brought in a lot of amazing local artists and one from out in Tennessee, Randy Driscoll as well, to cover songs and put it on, including Jim Ballard and his band The Strangs, including Theresa Brightman and myself and Ani performing one of the tracks on here too. That is available up here. It's also available to stream, Snow Covered Mountains. So there's a merch table to check out. Michael back here makes amazing sandwiches. If you're hungry, talk to Michael. Now's a really good time to put in your order. Seth will get you drinks at the bar. Restrooms down the hall if you're first time here. Glad you're here. We'll come back up in about 5 minutes and start the open mic. We are going to start up the open mic. I'm very excited for the open mic. We've got some great folks on here. This event, doing this here, happened because of two conversations with Seth Vale, who's hiding on us right now, but the bartender, the co-owner, also amazing member of a band named Ashes, a great band in the area. A conversation with Seth, and then a conversation with Steve and Theresa Brightman is how is how this started. I talked with Seth, and then I was over at Steve and Theresa's house and chatting about this event they used to do, and COVID had kind of shut the whole world down and stopped this. And that's when this started. And I'm really excited to bring to the open mic, both of them, but we'll get there. First up to the open mic, please welcome Theresa Brightman.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm going to read, this is a short poem. This is from the Cuyahoga Valley National Park Poetic Inventory. And if you don't know, yay.
I'm in it, sorry.
Yay. So if you don't know what it is, they got a bunch of poets to write poems about as many native species as possible that live in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It's a super cool collection. They're actually going to be printing a physical collection of it, but you can find all the poems online right now. So my species was the gray catbird, and if you don't know what it is, it's a little gray mockingbird with a black cap and a red tail. And you don't see them too often, but when you do, it's really exciting, or it is for me. If you like birds, which apparently I've heard old people like birds, so I guess that means I'm old now. So this is gray catbird on the nest. If you hear a mewling cry between a human child and a disappointed cat in the dense shrubs of your yard, and you see a flash of rust under a handful cloud of slate gray, leave her be. She's friendly but shy, transitory, fierce in defense. If you could ask her, she would tell you she does nothing heroic. This is what her people do. 1,000 miles from south to north, then south again, following budding trees in the spring to a fresh hold of twigs in the undergrowth where she raises her babies and fights off blue jays and grackles. And when the brown-headed cowbird gets up to the old cuckoo tricks, her sharp, dark eye watches. She jabs the intruder's eggs and rolls them from her nest. She knows invasion. She does not proceed with irrational fury, nor does she ignore the threat, waiting until danger blossoms and fruits. She acts, protecting the innocents in her care, and ends the parasite incursion before it begins. She would tell you she does nothing heroic. It is what her people do. Thank you. Next month on the first Wednesday. I'm really excited about being part of the big anniversary special that Keith is putting on. It's going to be a great show. Thank you.
Thank you, Theresa. Yeah. So up notice, we're talking about that. Next month, we have in the back room, after the open mic out here, we've got Sugar Water Baby, Exposure, Just Cause, Vision, Eric Odom, Theresa Brightman, Adam Spells, Coco Weaponry coming in from Detroit, Rajabelle Freeman, Danielle Nicole, Nikki Dixon, Nellie B. the Artist, and Avery Omar Pope. It is a loaded lineup. It's going to be an amazing night. Again, you can get your tickets in cash tonight for $10 and save yourself the service fees, or get them at the door for $15. Next up to the mic, we have, I think, a new regular here, joining us both in the area and at this event. Please welcome to the stage Sylvia Clark.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
This first poem can be found on my Instagram if you want to follow along. I know sometimes, like with my ADHD, I have problems like understanding what people are saying. It's not just a plug, but it's s.clark poems on Instagram. This is called "I Can Only Ask Itself Imaginary Questions." What is the sound of no hands clapping to my relentless thoughts aloud? What is the length, width, and height of my silence now speaking volumes? What is an incomplete collector set worth if you do not know the plot? How long is a tender moment in our kitchen with 3 clocks? How long has this been where past, present, and future cross? Where 2 held hands take an extra turn? Where the oven is warm on time? Where a red countdown microwave displays our future 1 minute fast? How can we depend on each other when the warheads are online? How can I look away from the screen as the cage table struggles with revolutions? How long has it been minutes to midnight without a prompt solution? Will the time is money economy collapse twice over? Will they be too late to expect the approach of danger? Will polarized agitation vaporize us all from the inside out? Will the nuking of the minds remain untelevised? Will 12 flash for all those left who can generate the power? Will it only stand to taunt them, haunt them, to remind them they survived? Will they be burdened alive at the stakes? Will they combust spontaneously as they ask, is there a time we can all agree on without defining now? Do we rewind clockwork to keep circadian rhythm quantized? Do we redefine clockwise in our own image, a new face for new times? I can only ask itself imaginary questions when I cannot compute its thoughts. But your fine thumbprint grit buffering around my nervous skin in our kitchen reminds me now of recurring time control dreams. Finger drawing into my hand, tracing circles over palm lines, where thick and thin meet, end, and begin again. Can we embrace what we have used to touch all that we have touched? Poem. I got one more, it's more confrontational. You know?
All right.
It's called The Last Hill to Die On. On the final day, on the last hill to die on, the coals of the last state house smolder. On the last hill of this civilization, on the Acropolis of marble, the statues are defaced or decapitated. Will the bloody streets watershed into the Potomac and humidify the death marsh in the terrible summer heat? Will the rain that was blood, that was water, flow to the stone-cold stoop of the institution's protected comfort? Will the ducklings bathe? On the last hill to die on, politicians see their own reflection by the pool in their polished shoes without acknowledgement. Supposed followers of Lincoln, they are instead imprinted with Lady Liberty, knowing she is made of real copper, praising her green patina maturing just offshore. She is their mother, the only siren they respond to. On the last day, they'll take cover behind the Vietnam Wall like a bank too big to fail. On the last hill to die on, we will live forever or die by suicide. Do we expect some capitalist military giant to step the ocean and crush them in a blow? Yes. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa, with all their earthly treasures, could not stop us. We take by force drinks from any river, fly over innocent Afghan mountain ranges in a trial of 2 decades. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, It is taking your shoes off at the airport. It is preparing for an active shooter in elementary school. It is a police car in Akron, Ohio. It has sprung up within us. We are the authors and finishers. On the final day, on the last hill to die on, the coals of the last state house smolder. The living document passes as the victors cry, with everything out of their system home.
All right, thanks so much, Sylvia. Next up to the open mic, a longtime regular now here at the Angry Cop Poetry event. Please welcome Stephen Pryce.
Thanks, everybody. I'm also happy that May is Mental Health Month. Most of my work is centered around work and recovery, and I have a couple poems tonight about that subject. My first poem is called Making It. My dad encouraged me to go into sales, so I worked for free at his growing company. It was cheaper than a master's degree. I saw it as a path to white-collar work. I had never even been a sales clerk, but I jumped in the game and tried to make a name for myself. I sent out my marketing letters, but commission salesmen wanted to do better. I was left with whatever. It still looked good for an internship, and I landed a job in downtown Cleveland. It was a daily 1-hour trip. The office was in the Galleria Tower. My boss had a polite southern accent. I was sure he was transferred, that it meant success. Within months, I was paranoid and depressed. I couldn't control what I was thinking. My career was surely sinking, so I quit, as my dad would suggest. I returned to Cleveland for hospital treatment so I could still work locally. I still like to think about what I could be. And this poem is a follow-up to that. It's called Hospital Administrator's Son. You are my dad, and I am glad that you had a successful career as a hospital administrator. I was hospitalized 2 times for a mental health condition in Cleveland and Akron while trying to get jobs in sales and journalism. You insisted that I keep working at jobs you wouldn't take, ones that don't make the money you make. You thought they were easier than to budget and delegate. You told me I had to earn it, that I would have to fight, but the odds were against me. It never seemed right. I did what others do to get ahead, but my supervisors always found some more adequate instead. I think I deserved it. I wish you would see the hardship.
Thank you, Steve. So the event I was talking about, the poetry event that used to occur in Canton, no, it was Akron, I'm sorry, in Akron, that Steve and Theresa ran, was where I met Ed. And Ed is transferred over to come into this event too. I'm really excited about that. Please welcome next to the mic, Ed Amann.
All right, y'all, this is a bunch of really short stuff, so there might be more than 2 here. But I wasn't sure I was going to do this first one, but then it turns out to be Mental Health Month. Perfect songs. Something about the thing I used to be. Step right on up. Step right on up and take a chance on me. I'm just a thrill a minute because you don't know who I'll be. One time a gentle pony on a carousel. Then a roller coaster straight to hell. I'm just a crazy carny. That's all I know to be. Anyhow, these are all short. If somebody hears a prompt in them, please take it and run. Oh, let's see. We'll stay on terror. The wolf. Times have always been a little hard, but these days are more than different now. Seems the wolf is always lurking, waiting for you to fall somehow. Always hungry, shadow running on the blurry edge. Wait, hoping for the step you miss. Leaping, biting, tasting all your blood. To leave you asking, is all that's left is this? gentler with the last one. The antidote. Maybe we have too much. We've forgotten to say thanks. All we want is more, because too much is never enough. It's only partly our fault, because the folks many rungs farther up the grief ladder spend their days working out how to make us dissatisfied with what we have so they can sell us more. The only antidote is gratitude.
Thank you, Ed. So next to the mic, I'm going to welcome up one of the very first features we've had at this event here. Please welcome to the stage, Steve Brightman.
As Keith told you, I'm Steve Brightman. This is one of my poems titled Eve Sings to Her Offspring. Daughters and sons, the voice of your mother was the first voice you knew. Summer turning into fall is a beta version of your bones decaying, dressed for the occasion. Leaves are shiny on one side, and on the other side is built for thirst. Tomorrow may be the last full day without another headstone in your life. Take full advantage of easy breathing in your soft, comfortable middle, absent any hunger pains. Desire can rot you from the inside out, and you will not see any bruising until after it's well too late. Daughters and sons, keep both eyes open for intersections. See them for what they are. Yellow lights are a caution only while you are driving. The sun is a yellow dwarf while you are sitting here breathing, and some dead folks are dead folks because someone couldn't see anything other than red. Daughters and sons, the shelf life of magic decreases exponentially in sunlight. Do not fall in love with the iron and electricity in your own blood. Science is reckless with the human heart. Math, too, has abandoned anything resembling organs or bones. Your spine can keep you upright only until you notice that it is doing so. Daughters and sons, the sun and the air are liars. Warm is as much a religion as an insurgency is, hastily scribbled on the nearest piece of anything which resembles a flat surface. This does not make anger a house of worship. Your body is a temple. Your neighbor's body is a temple too. Daughters and sons, say your hellos, goodbyes to each other. Remind yourselves that the desert is a desert for a reason. There's no need to walk through it just because it is there. Remind yourselves that the ocean is an ocean for a reason. Don't expect your friends to meet you every time you come up for air. Some days you have to swim for your lives, and it's hard damn work remembering which body of blue is sky and which is water. Daughters and sons, don't confuse your medicine with your healing. Your skin doesn't have to be a small cacophony of demons. Expose yourself to natural light and remember that the mythology behind everything probably came from the voice of a man who was angry at the gods because his power was not as vast as he had hoped. Daughters and sons, do not be a friend of the dollar sign. Do not either make it an enemy. Know that it can be both a bludgeon and a scalpel, depending only on who it is doing the wielding. Remember every maiden name on your mother's side. Remember how your father died. Daughters and sons, civilized life has made progress. We no longer believe that we lose fundamental pieces of our wretched souls simply from having our photograph taken. We are now owned by phones which unlock upon our eager, garish faces. Yours has never been a world without electronics, without GPS, without camera lenses pointing at you and from you. Having never not known this captivity, excavation is gray but necessary. You are the only ones who can dig yourselves out from underneath bones you will never know. Daughters and sons, regardless of your religion, sin at its core is an overwhelming failure to love the closest human to you. The closest skin to you is not the only skin in the game. Love the next one too, and the one after that. Daughters and sons, there are very few things in the world more troubling than extended silences. You should not let yourself become one. Your heart is as big as you need it to be. Remember how your skin zippers against the skin of your lover, closes dark space between you, turns it into almost light. Daughters and sons, cloud circles of crows will appear without notice sometimes, show an applicable degree of awe. Even though this black mass will never know who you are, the face of God is not and never will be kaleidoscope or cotton white beard. Daughters and sons, glass can be as sharp as a knife, but it was sand or stone at one point. Once upon a time is no way to be 20 one day and 50 the next. 1995 is 30 years rear viewed already. Ocean has never once in that time stopped pulverizing the jagged shore.
All right, thank you, Steve. I love that piece. All right, I was talking earlier that I met QintheStu blowing me away at a Temple of Passion Slam. And Silent Night I also met while I was filming the Temple of Passion Slam and killing it. Fantastic work. I'm excited you're here tonight. Please welcome to the stage Silent Night.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of our creation. What you'll find will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Imagine, for just a second, a world in which no police sirens sing lullabies of black babies being put to sleep in. A date with Blue doesn't begin by being handed a bouquet of bullets. There is no bullet. No gun, not even a cop. Cause Buddy was too busy eating donuts, he forgot he had a genocide on his monthly quota, forgot to turn his radio on, telling him to send another dark-hued human to hearse, and now, no precipitation will depart mother's pupils. Hitting casket like hail, no morticians make millions from partnership with 12. There is no Channel 12. No anxiously waiting to see if her son got casted today. Say he's a prodigy, born for the part, made cut with no audition, no rehearsal needed. Just stay still, close up shot, cue the cameras, going off script, breaking fourth wall, calling for his mama, monologue to a god who don't speak back, don't worry. Director will turn boy into a household name, hanging off mouths full of police apologetics. No. This isn't another poem where marred bodies get buried in metaphor to beautify your sins. Tonight, we will dream. Dream of a world where 21 is an exit sign to adulthood and not a one-way to the afterlife. Dream. Dream of men cloaked in white using hands to save instead of scorched. Dream. Dream whistles don't lead to wakes, bullets to blood baptisms, loud music to memorials. Now bump that. Blast it, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. With no siren signaling, we won't. You ask me what heaven looks like. And I'll tell you, it is a sky, only lit by the street lights guiding us to come home. It is a night, with no noise beyond the rustle of the city. It is sleep, uninterrupted by breakers doing their duty. It is quiet. For tonight, we will have quiet. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Silent Night. Let's give it up for everyone who's jumped on the open mic. Appreciate y'all being out here. I don't know why I left myself following you, but I'm going to read a couple pieces here too, and then we'll get QintheStu back up for the second half of this feature. This first one, I guess I'll just go into it. This first one's called Morals on Monday. Meatless Mondays. For those of us who don't want animals to suffer every day. I mean, I care, but not on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, the weekend. One day a week, I can do something better. I won't pay for their suffering on Monday. I'm already hating the alarm clock, the official end of my weekend that brought me back to my 9 to 5. Guess I can eat a bean burrito today. Not tomorrow. That's asking too much. I can't be expected to care 2 days in a row. Well, hold on. While only causing animal suffering 6 days a week is certainly better than 7, when did our morals have breaks? Optional days. If our boss exhibited sexist attitudes, would we encourage him to stop being sexist on Thursdays? Well, since we know not being sexist every day would be too sudden a change for him, are we against family separation on the weekends? Is racism wrong on Tuesdays? Is pedophilia intolerable the first Sunday of the month? If we deem something wrong, how can it be wrong only some of the time? Is convenience a justification for our morals? Do we really only have the willpower for 14.3% follow through on our values? Speaking of math being everywhere, as we were chatting about at this table earlier, I'm going to do one more piece. I told you that QintheStu's piece that brought me to tears as part of the Spare Fortune that you got to hear earlier. And I'm going to share a piece about fathering a child who had similar thoughts to what Q was going through. This is called Failed Sales Pitch. The best knife on the market, 8 inches of blade that can effortlessly slice a tomato or an asphalt shingle or a vein. It's the knife you'll think of every time you leave them alone. Every time you leave for work hoping their depression, their misery can hold out until you return. It is a knife you'll hide, hoping they won't find it. Hoping they won't think of all the other alternatives impossible to hide. The way a plate could shatter into ceramic daggers. The way broken glass could tear through skin. The way a tool for carpentry could quickly become a tool for self-destruction. But your mind always returns to the knife. The easy-to-grip handle you continually imagine in their hands. The corrosion-resistant stainless steel you continually imagine stained. You can have this blade sharpened for free in case the wounds weren't yet deep enough. The forever guarantee is for your knife, not your child. So yeah, I definitely felt that piece tonight and the other night. I'm so glad you're here to share that. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Drink refills, restrooms, sandwich orders. Michael, you still doing sandwiches?
Yeah.
All right, so it's now. It's now or never. If you're getting a sandwich, Michael makes awesome sandwiches. I think a lot of us in here can verify that. If you want some food, you want to drink, now is the time. Does anyone need a couple minutes before we bring Q back up to the mic? Couple minutes. All right. Our feature is requesting a couple minutes, so absolutely. So take a couple minutes. What I encourage you to do in this time, other than drinks, restroom, merch table, whatever you want to look at, is find a poet in here and tell them something you liked about what they did. Find a supporter in here, someone who's hanging out, and thank them for being here. Appreciate their faces and their applause and their love and their all the share they're sharing tonight. So yeah, we'll come back in a few minutes. All right, y'all, how you doing?
Good. Good.
Couple of you? Okay, the rest of you? All right, we are going to bring our feature back up here. As a reminder, because I don't always remember to remind, there's a suggested $5 donation for those willing and able. Throw some in the pot. That all goes directly to our feature, so show Q some love there too. Please welcome for the second half of the feature, QintheStu.
Thanks so much for sticking around, guys. So I need you guys to pick a number.
Well,
Between
let's say between 29 and 84.
77.
Christian's got
All right, bet. There's not that many poems. I just picked a random numbers.
damn math coming through this whole night.
It's everywhere, Keith. I'm telling you. All right. This one's called Fantasy World. I don't have to memorize one. We live in a land of make-believe. A world of magic mirrors, sleeping beauties, glass slippers, and poison apples. Our minds no longer have the capacity to distinguish superheroes from villains. None of them wear capes anymore. Their smiles don't scream good guy. Their mean mugs don't scream bad one, but their lungs scream for fresh air and are muffled by summer anthems. They are silenced by tantrums tempered through tyranny. They suffer as the echo of their voices bounce within their hollow bellies. To us, they are just more men of steel. They are cold. They are told to get their lives in order. They are left stranded in the darkness and challenged to find their way out. God forbid the giving tree grants you one of her branches. How dare you dally in her leaves? She is a family to shade. Her power is precious, yet she is often only viewed as potential. Her wings have been clipped, so when she flies, the headline will read miracle, and she will be the face known as adversity's adversary, through capillary action or some other sort of magic. The ones who pull her strings will reap what she sows. She will never know the good she did. She will only live through those who know her story, whether she gets the chance to write it for herself or not. These are the souls of those whose roads are most traveled. Their tolls put food on the table of that nasty troll whose family has always really lived above the bridge in a castle. That troll proclaims himself king. His queen doesn't do much but smile and wave at the little boys and girls and give false hope to those who think they can change the world one day, because it's all fake. We've been raising generations on the power of imagination. Free speech demonstrations only demonstrate what it means to appease the masses until the next social movement passes. What will they do when the world stops turning? When the heroes have had enough? Who will step up for those who have been stepped on when they inevitably step out of the shit they have been birthed in and refuse to become nutrients for the planet they serve? Who will keep this operation running? Will it even be enough? While the big kids are used to playing dress up, they'll be stuck playing toy soldier instead. They'll have to get their hands dirty, their feet wet, dig their way through the trenches, learn all the secrets of the trade, and trade away all of their secrets for an extra life. They'll be begging for the creativity to think of a way out, the skill to execute, the endurance to make sure the job gets done, and the people like themselves to understand why they need a break sometimes. You see, the truth is, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in this fairy tale. Sometimes the good guys get hurt, the bad guy wins, and no one gets to close the book and pretend it all away. This is the race, the human one. Each heat is just another chapter of the madness. Whatever happens is just a reflection of the strides we make. It's important to recognize that there are winners and losers, but it's even more crucial to recognize the difference between those who have lost and those who have accepted defeat. It's not enough to march through city streets until they bring out the riot shields when the ones who can even the playing field are still on the outskirts, the sidelines. For the love of God, coach, please put them in. Give them the chance to pave a way for themselves. How can they get to the Hall of Fame if their name is never on the ballot? This is all the makings of a Cinderella story. Even if we have to go door to door, returning glass slippers, we can make this kingdom whole again, or for once rather. If we can somehow convince princes and princesses that their voices do matter, then maybe one day their favorite stories won't be rooted in fantasy, but reality. Maybe one day it won't take another senseless fatality for us to put our ears to the door to get a sense of what's really going on. Instead, as a community, a city, a state, and Lord help us, a nation, will kick down the doors and let Goldilocks know she is welcome no more, that this porridge belongs to the people. Maybe then the greater good will feel just a little more equal, and we'll finally put this story to rest.
All right.
Thank you. That's Fantasy World. Keith mentioned another poem.
Yeah.
Tonight. So I'm going to do this poem. I didn't think I was going to do it, but I'm going to do this one. It's called Home is Where the Heart Is.
Yeah.
And I wrote this a couple years ago. This is one of my favorites. So, home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is, so pardon my lack of hospitality, hugs and kisses. This is not a home. This is not where you belong. This is not where the window's warm breath tickles the skin. This is where love and happiness are begging to be let in, but the previous owner has painted over every window frame, and therefore they will remain shut until the next tenant comes in and decides to strip them down, or rather knock them out. This house may be built of brick and mortar, but sticks and stones still hurt. These foundations set in rotten earth can only bear but so much weight. Wait around for the next storm to tear off every shutter, blow open every door, relocating insides, outside, leaving a landscape, seeking boundaries beyond the built environment. A bed remains for someone to lie in and be reminded that a house is begging for bodies, but a home is begging for someone to belong. Blood, sweat, and tears to water the lawn. See, a home will wait for the right heart to come along, but a house is simply seeking a beat. A pair of feet to come stomping in, looking for a place to sleep. It wouldn't offer you a seat, but a home would offer you a hug before offering you a plate to eat. Offer you shelter, offer you heat, and that house is still just another spot on my street. You know what I mean? A house belongs to the streets, but a home belongs to me, or rather, I to her, or them, or it. Well, you catch my drift. But sometimes the ground shifts, and that's why I'm so pensive, so apprehensive, why I've boarded up these windows with torn down fences. Ask the house why it's only warm when the rent's in. Ask new floorboards why they creak under tension, and ask the home why it seems all our problems will be gone with just a little elbow grease. A tap of the hammer, a jiggle of the handle when we're back in action, stacking cinder blocks on second stories, because these grounds won't shake. These hounds can't break through bonded trauma, not off the hairs of my chinny chin chin. If danger creeps in, it's surely been invited. Need you not reminded to shut the door behind it? It's not here to stay. It only shows its face to place fear in our hearts, and I just wanted to know that love lives here in this. I just wanted to know that love lives here in all parts of this home I think I might belong to. You know, I make a living drawing buildings, but even I can't create the place that I'll move on to. So I'll move on to every place till a space is created for me. I'll walk up to every door and I'll turn every key till I walk in and feel safe to breathe, safe to believe, safe to be, and most of all, safe to see the reflection in my bedroom window, a version of me that feels at home.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Me too.
That one's fun. This next one's kind of new. Okay, it's about my relationship with God. It's gonna be a complicated thing for some people. I'm gonna try my best to get through this. We'll see. This is called Does He? A dusty Bible sits on my nightstand patiently. The doorknob to my room wears a rosary around its neck, the way Sister Dorothy told me was never allowed in our faith, and truth be told, I can't remember the last time I used it to pray. I don't even remember the words. I sometimes wish God's blessings on strangers when their noses need to clear out all the dust. I wonder if He grants it, or if He waits for a more worthy follower to speak for Him. I fear He sees me fraudulent. Sometimes it's hard for His name to leave my mouth, and I wonder, is it my own hesitation, or does He resist sharing a breath with my self-righteousness? Father Tom's was always so minty fresh. But if I can speak freely, I don't think God lived in His air. It was always cold, stale, and uninviting, so I stayed away and came to believe that was the reason God didn't know me. I was convinced that He lived through the church more than His people, and I didn't like that place. Or the way they ran things, like they were Him. They told me when to pray. They told me when to say Our Father. They told me that Our Father, some man with a funny collar, was the only one who could speak directly to Him. They made me repent for my sins, which as a kid were merely the act of growing up. They yelled hush and claimed they could fix us as if we were any more broken than their own rules the night before. They didn't allow us to explore our relationship. No, they told us how to love Him. Does He know that I love Him? Does He mean to be in all the places I see His face? Outside all the pages that hold the words they claim are His own. Outside all the buildings they call His home, I see Him in the corner of my room at night. A figure many might fear in the wrong light and mistake for evil, but I know it's only Him. A heap of dirty laundry, all stained and stinky from so many years of being worn, but still ready to keep me warm when I need it most. I see Him when I get close enough to the mirror to see how clogged my pores are. He is the dirt underneath my skin, reminding me to be more grateful for the body I was gifted. He is my body. I am His. And it's not because of the little cardboard biscuits they hand out. It is because it heals when broken. I have the pleasure to know the pain that comes with growing, and I'm hoping that He understands why I talk to Him the way I do. Like a real friend, it isn't often. But that's only because when we do talk, it's like He had been watching from a distance the whole time anyway. Do you think He sees it the way that I do? That even if I tend to neglect that dusty Bible, I acknowledge the true meanings of its contents. That this is not a contest. I've never sought out to be His favorite child. I've only ever wanted to make Him proud the way my Father is of me. His body. And doesn't that make me holy? Not worthy of worship, but worthy of all the love and trust I pour onto others. Aren't I as holy as my intentions? If God is in this room right now, aren't we all holy by extension? Aren't we saints for carrying out the wisdom and love to spread faith and come up to this stage? And aren't we saints for carrying out the work to spread love and wisdom and walking by faith up to this stage? Aren't we believers for trusting that He keeps the space we occupy and the words we wield truly safe? Isn't this service? Isn't this service? Isn't this service? Isn't this how He would want me to use my alternative point of view? Doesn't He know I love Him? I wonder if I don't love Him the way they tell me. I wonder still if He loves me too. Thank you. All right, this next one's called My Love. And I'm just doing this one because it's kind of fun. It's a little bit lighter than a lot of the other stuff that I'm doing tonight. My love doesn't usually end up in poems. But then again, as a poet, I myself haven't really ended up in love. But it's only been like 2 years, and it's still a new title, so it's no rush. It's only been like 2 years, which ironically is about how long my last relationship lasted, and this is still going well, so maybe I'm just better at loving myself. Maybe that's why me and I don't fight when we don't see eye to eye. We just step away from the mirror, allow our vision to reset, and come back in a little, when we're a little more refreshed. Maybe that's why breakfast is so easy with me, because I don't have to guess what kind of juice I want. I can have as many servings as I please, or at least as I make, although sometimes I do wish there was another plate across from me, so I could swipe a single home fry or perhaps a bite of bacon and laugh as I'm slapped in my hand and told to get my own. But then again, when I'm by myself, at least everything is my own. At least I only have to wash one dish. But I do wonder what it would be like if love ended up in my poems the way it ends up trapped in between the palms of lovers or just likers, because things are kind of weird. But that's okay, because even if they're just likers, love still ends up burning the backs of their ears when they tell their friends about each other behind closed doors. Like, man, what it must be like to hear that my name has been in rooms that I haven't. Introduced by a set of lips that make magic, even if they do tend to mumble most of the time. I imagine that putting my love in those poems is sort of like turning those whispers into wine, just words that make your legs feel funny, verses that cause a little bit of vertigo, maybe make your heart skip a few beats because loving so hard is actually kind of hard. It makes sleep feel a little less welcome in your bed. You have to wrap your head around a whole new vocabulary. Words like me don't make sense without you. Words like I belong to us. Words like mine belong to us now. Words like I only sound good in front of words like adore, admire, require, need, love, you. But I'm just guessing here because my love doesn't usually end up in poems. It ends up in home-cooked meals, really tight hugs, rides to and from work just because it's another reason to be together. It ends up meeting your parents and trying to prove to them that you're in good hands. It ends up trying to be good hands, hands that don't usually sweat like this, hands that will hold open every door, hands that will remain hands until they need to become a hammer, that will build a home for the right set of hands that don a band that match mine, hands that will help me create another set of little hands. That's enough hands for me to hold for 2 lifetimes. Imagine if I could just write a couple of lines laced with my love. I bet all the eyes would dot themselves with little hearts. I bet each letter would lend the next one a leg to lean on. I bet all the sentences would start to sound like questions because I'm always questioning love. I bet it would be kind of tough to read because the ink would bleed from little beads of sweat because love actually makes me nervous. I bet I would start to repeat myself because love actually makes me nervous. I bet I would start to repeat myself because how does someone know they're loved if they've never heard it? I love you. I love you. I love you. And I hope that this is enough to prove that I'm just as capable a lover as I am a writer. And I know I've been doing one a lot more than the other, so I'm sure that none of this helps my case. Maybe it's time for me to face it, that the only way for me to end up in love is to leave enough space for love to end up in my poems. Maybe then, as a poet, I'll finally just end up in love. Still ain't happened yet, but I'm working on it. No, so that's all I got.
got for you guys tonight. I really appreciate you guys lending me your ears and hearing out these words that I've thrown together and tried to make sense out of. So yeah, like he said, I'm gonna give you guys a little rundown again real quick. I'm a group called The Sparrow's Fortune. Check them out. They do writing workshops, different shows as well. I work with another open mic called Poetry Unplugged. We'll be at the House of Blues on May 16th. If you're interested, there's another open mic. It's a lot of fun. And the House of Blues is freaking awesome. And then I think that's all I got. Check me out on YouTube. I just dropped a video with Poetry Unplugged. It's on my whole writing process. It's called Writer's Room, and it's like a big interview, and like there's a show and stuff like that. So check it out if you got some time, if you got 25 minutes to kill. And have a great night. Get home safe.
Give it up one more time for QintheStu. Keep it going for all of the poets who blessed the mic tonight, for all the amazing folks who came out to join us. The Rialto Theater, and Seth Vale, Nate Vale, thank you so much as always. Michael in the back for making some great sandwiches. We will see you next month for a huge feature here, 7 o'clock open mic, main feature in the back at 8.
Yeah.